Hey, welcome to another Liquid Bullet production. A little bit of a change for us today. Today we're doing it through Zoom, so bear with us. We've see how this one goes. But our guest is actually in Gran Canaria. Our guest today is Adam Lockwood, who is known as the Little Nuisance. He's an urban climber, or urban explorer as they sometimes be called, who do some absolute crazy stuff. So Adam, nice for you to join us. How's the lockdown been for you?
We're not in lockdown over here.
Really?
It's been pretty good.
Yeah, that is good. That is good. Okay, can we just start with a little bit of your background, so your sort of upbringing and what age you discovered the urban climbing?
I'd say I've had a pretty average upbringing in terms of family and like where I live and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. From growing up until when I started, it switched completely. But so I started doing all this when I was 16, and since then it's been completely different from what I was brought up as.
Yeah. So what made you first, like, how did you find out about it? Was it something you saw someone doing or on the internet, or what made you, or was it something you used to like climbing, and what made you first think, I know, I'll do that?
I've always liked actually like climbing, like indoor climbing and bouldering and stuff. But what in my town where I grew up, there was this big abandoned mill, and the group of friends that I was with, like at the time, was always talking about it and saying, "Oh yeah, we should go in there, whatever." And then one day I just decided to go in and have a look around, and then I got on the roof and realised, it was quite cool being up high. So it's sort of the first domino, and then everything just sort of escalated from there.
Did you find was there a fear factor straight away, or did that turn into adrenaline to sort of make you want to do it more, like the challenge?
I can't remember a time that I've ever been scared of doing what I do. I've never been scared, but sometimes there's like worry of certain things or like a caution with certain things, but I've never ever been scared of being up high or being in a place that I'm not supposed to be in, or things like
that. Does it worry you about slipping or like fatigue? Like I've seen you doing pull-ups. Do you not worry about fatigue of not being able to get up?
Whenever I hang off a crane, I'm never going to hang off the crane if I'm tired beforehand, or if so an example, when I was in Italy, I was doing a hang, and I took my shirt off as I was hanging, and the whole time, 3 days before, I wasn't doing anything with my arms, just so that when I was doing it, I wouldn't have the factor of getting tired or having no strength to get back up, if you know what I mean. I would never.
Sorry, do you do like a test first to make sure it's like not oily or not slippery, stuff like that?
Yeah. So whenever I hang off the crane, I always, if it's early in the morning, sometimes it could be moisture on the bars, which has happened a few times, and I would either not hang off the crane, or I would wipe it off, wait a little bit, wipe it off again, make sure it's completely fine for me to hang off. But it's it's very unlikely.
I saw a video online of a Chinese man. I think his name was Wu Yoning. He actually lost his grip and fell. I mean, does this not worry you or scare you or put you off?
Well, when he did that, I don't know I'd never heard of him before. I'd never spoken to him. I didn't know who he was until obviously that video surfaced. But from the video, if you've seen it, he was hanging by his fingertips like this off just a solid edge of a building, and he couldn't pull himself up. And that's something I would never ever get myself into a position to have that. I would always, if I'm doing something like that, I will always have enough energy to get up. So I won't go past my physical point, and I would always get up. No matter what, if it makes the video look shit, whatever, I'm getting up from that platform. I'm never going to get to that point.
Yeah, safety first. In your own opinion, what is the craziest thing you think you've done? I mean, they all look pretty crazy to me, but from your point of view...
I think there's two that stand out for me, which is the 3-finger hang that I did in Manchester off a carabiner off a 46-story building, and the Croatia chimney hang, which was, I think I did 2 hands just on my fingertips, and then I let go of one just with my fingertips, which was 1,200 feet, 360 meters. But yeah, either of those I'd say was probably my craziest thing.
I must admit I haven't seen them once, but I'm going to have a look into them after this.
Yeah.
Just another question. What does your family think of this? Do they mind you doing it, or do they hate you doing it?
My family absolutely hate everything that I do. With climbing, exploring, hanging off things, doing all this other stuff. They hate it.
I can understand that from a parent's point of view. They're probably worried sick when we go out. But just another question now. So how do you get into these places? Like, I mean, some of them I've seen you in the security and stuff. So do you like check them out first and do like a recce visit, or sort of work out the weak points, or how do you sort of get yourself in these places?
I think it depends on what the place is. So if it's like a crane, for example, it will be on a construction site, which is usually working Monday to Friday, but some sites do work weekends, which stresses me out. But usually I would look around the site, look around the outside, see where entrances are, see where possible exits are, see where the security is, See the best and quickest way to get to the crane or to get to the stairwell to walk up the stairs and then go across to the crane. If it's like an abandoned building, for example, you would just look around the site and see where security might be, or any sensors or cameras, or obviously possible entrances and exits. For other things like train surfing or surfing buses, you'd probably look for places to get on the bus or get on the train and then look the entire way, see if there's any electric fences or electric cables or stuff like that, just so you don't get, sliced in half and electrocuted. But generally it's pretty similar. Sometimes it's a lot more long, and so you have to sort of sit somewhere and watch the place, or sometimes it's just as simple as looking around and going straight in. It all depends on what it is.
Yeah, gotcha. Has this activity you do caused you many problems with police?
A lot. In England, off the top of my head, I've been arrested 8 or 10 times. I honestly can't remember. I've been in police cells quite a bit, but it's all civil trespass, so it's not really. The police can't really do anything. They can arrest you on suspicion of anything. So if you're in a building or they see you leaving, they can suspect that you've broken in or stolen something or, done whatever. But after you've been in a cell and they interview you, whatever, they can't really prove anything. They can't really do anything. Me personally, because I spent so much time in Manchester climbing every single day, climbing so much stuff and making so many videos, Manchester Council got a little bit offended by that. And they took me to court, and I'm now on a 2-year suspended sentence in England for not climbing. So if I go into a crane or try and climb a building or even climb up some scaffolding, I'm going to prison for a little while.
Is that just in Manchester or is that in UK's?
So back in 2018, when it was like the high point, well, I'd say 2018 was like the first point where Manchester Council contacted me and sent me a letter saying, stop climbing or we'll take you to court. And because I'm me, I just set fire to the letter and mocked it and laughed at them and whatever. And eventually in mid-2019, they actually took me to court. And originally they said, this is going to be a ban from Manchester, from climbing in Manchester. I was like, all right, that's fine. I'll just go to London, Leeds, Birmingham, wherever, and do it there. But when they actually got to court, they realised, we can actually stop them doing it in England, all of England. So that's what they did. So if I go in any construction site or climb anything anywhere in England, that's it. I'm going to prison. Not too worried about it.
I saw a video online of a guy called the Shard Climber. He actually done a prison sentence, didn't he, for climbing that?
Yeah.
I think he said on his video he got 3 months for that. So is that just for that one climb, or was that for many that put together?
He got 6 months, but only did half of it. But the Shard specifically has an injunction on it, which basically means, so trespass, if I was to climb a crane or whatever, a normal crane, that's civil trespass, nothing else. Obviously, other things come into it like public nuisance and causing alarm or whatever. But the Shard has an injunction which basically makes it criminal for anyone to trespass or do anything to the building. He knew that anyway. I knew that anyway. But for George, I know in person for George that climb was like a very big thing in his life, and he was more than willing to do 6 months in prison to climb that. So yeah, don't mess with injunctions.
Yeah, it made a big wave, that one, didn't it? It was on the telly, the news. And,
yeah.
Is there any other urban climbers that inspire you or encourage you?
When I first started, I never used to watch any videos of people climbing. I'd seen videos of James Kingston in Southampton, which was like the most viral crane climbing videos ever, like back in the day. and never really thought anything of it. And then when I started, I started exploring like abandoned buildings and stuff like that, and just going into like little fun places. But after a little bit, then I started watching like people and started finding people from the community, and then started growing my Instagram. And but when I started, I never really had an inspiration, so to speak.
Is there anyone now in the same game that you sort of compete against that they sort of do something maybe a little bit higher or a little bit more scary than you've done, and then you do go to the next level and try and beat them? Or is there someone like that you compete with, or not really?
I would never want to compete with anyone in like this community, this thing like climbing and stuff. If someone does something better than me, fair play. I wouldn't say I'm like the most physically strong person. There's a guy called Leo Urban in France, and he's free soloed a few buildings in Paris, which I want to free solo, but I don't have the physical strength to do it. So it's sick to see him doing much better than me and grinding and getting, whatever. But I wouldn't ever say I'm going to compete with him, ever.
No. The young viewers or people that are interested in this watching, is there any advice you would give them about trying this or even going into this sort of thing? Would you advise against it, or would you advise to do it, or what's your view?
I would never encourage anything that I do. So climbing buildings, climbing cranes. I'd say the only thing I would sort of encourage is like going in abandoned buildings, because that's fun and it's not really that dangerous. So, but as for like climbing cranes and going on rooftops and stuff, I would never encourage anyone to do it, because it is dangerous. It's really dangerous at the end of the day. And if you're a young kid and you don't know what you're doing and you're quite naive, you won't, it won't be fun for a start, because you'll be scared, and it'll just be very dangerous, and you could obviously die doing it. So I wouldn't ever encourage anything.
How long can you see yourself continuing this? Is it something you sort of 5 years, 10 years, or do you think it's going to be something that's going to continue for your whole life? I mean, there's a guy, I can't remember his name now, the Frenchman, they call the Spider-Man. I mean, he's that's the one, yeah. So he's quite old, isn't he? And he's still active.
He's getting there. If you'd have asked me that question in 2019, the start of 2019, I would have said, "Oh yeah, this is my life. This is all I want to do for the rest of my life." Blah blah blah, until I'm dead, pretty much. Because people say, "Oh yeah, it's going to happen eventually." I agree with that. If you do something so much for so long, eventually something's going to happen. Obviously, you don't want it to happen, but now it's like where I'm at now. I'm quite liking diving and stuff like that, and just chilling a little bit, because it's not the most healthy thing for your brain to hang off cranes every week. So I still love doing it. I've climbed 2 cranes while I've been here, just as a laugh, and got a few pictures or whatever. But I'd say I'll never stop climbing things and doing crazy things, because that's who I am. It's what I love to do. It's what I thought made me happy, but it's what I've come to realize. It's just sort of it's fun at the end of the day. That's all it is. It's fun. So yeah, I'd like to carry on for however long I can, but right now it's not my like major priority.
Yeah, just from my own point of view, like obviously not doing that, but riding motorbikes fast, wheelies, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. As I've sort of got older, I find you think about the dangers more, so you sort of less want to do it, because of when you're younger, you don't seem to think of those things so much, do you? Yeah. I don't know if you found that yet, or
yeah,
obviously. So, has doing this climbing had an impact on your day-to-day life? Can you say it's helped you in your life in any way?
When I first started, I very quickly realised it was sort of an escape from like my own personal issues, and it really, really did help me a lot. And then obviously I carried on doing it, and that became my life. That became everything everything about my life revolved around climbing and doing all that crazy stuff. But over the years, it's sort of, I've sort of realized that it's not sort of, it's more unhealthy than it is healthy, because it really isn't healthy for your mind to do this stuff constantly all day, every day. So yeah, but back in the day, my life consisted of, what am I going to climb today? What am I going to climb tomorrow? If I wanted to do a sunrise crane, I'd have to go into Manchester on the train, sleep in Manchester, and then do the crane, and then sleep for the whole day the next day, and then repeat. And then it's just a vicious cycle of, and then editing videos, and then just preparing for the next thing. And it gets quite stressful. Not stressful, but it gets a bit tedious, I suppose.
Yeah. Can you just give us, obviously some of the viewers may not have seen some of your stuff. Can you just sort of run us through, obviously you've been all over different countries doing it. Can you just run us through some of the land spots that you've actually done? Sort of name them and explain them for us.
I did a 360 meter chimney in Croatia, which was an active chimney on an active power plant, which when we got to the top, there was smoke coming out of the top, there's steam coming out of the top, and it was really, really strange to see. Because if there's a viral video of the guy climbing the tallest chimney in Europe, and that's completely inactive and there's no smoke or whatever. Very similar height as well. To do that whilst it's active and look down and see workers just doing their daily job is pretty cool. I've been to Paris. I've climbed. I can't remember what the building's called. I think it's the third tallest building in Paris. I hung off that by my legs. I surfed the Paris metro at night and in the day. Just jump on top of the train, go over the bridge next to the Eiffel Tower. That's pretty cool. I've tried to climb the Eiffel Tower and it didn't work. And that was a pretty intense escape. Obviously, I've done a lot in Benidorm as well. I've climbed all 10 of the tallest buildings in Benidorm. I've Italy, Croatia, Denmark, all, loads of places. It's pretty mainly in Europe, just Europe.
What are the main buildings you've climbed in London?
In London, I've done the second tallest building in London, which is Landmark Pinnacle. I'm not going to tell you when I did that because I will get in a lot of trouble. But I did the crane, which was 255 meters, which was taller than the second tallest building in London at the time, which made it the second tallest thing in London, which it is now. It's nearly finished actually, and the crane's no longer there, which is pretty cool. And I've done a lot of buildings around London, central London, surrounding area, a few in Liverpool, Leeds as well. Got in a lot of trouble with Leeds, but
Have you ever done Canary Wharf?
Landmark Pinnacle is in Canary Wharf. Landmark Pinnacle's right next to Canary Wharf, and I did it before they got the injunction on it. Now it's got the injunction on it, but it's technically not part of Canary Wharf. It just has the injunction. So if I was to go and climb that building now, I would probably get a similar sentence to what George did for doing the shark.
All right, gotcha. Can you just give us some details of where people can view more of your content and your activities? Because obviously after this, people are going to want to see what we're talking about.
Yeah, my YouTube is The Little Nuisance. I've got a TikTok as well, which I don't really post on anymore. That's Nuisance69. Instagram at The Little Nuisance _, and then obviously Facebook and Twitter or whatever else.
You don't have your own website yet?
And I had a website for my merch, but I'm not selling that anymore. So yeah.
Okay. Adam, is there anything else you want to tell the viewers, or any messages you want to send out to anyone?
don't know. I've got a lot of views that I have that are probably not the best for a lot of people, but what I would say is travel as soon as you can, see the world. It's not going anywhere. Don't do a 9 to 5. They are a waste of time unless you're purely trying to get money for traveling. Then travel, see the world, have experiences, do different things, do things that scare you. Mainly, do things that scare you. If you're scared of something, that's a weakness. And I'm all about, doing things that scare you and becoming a stronger person mentally, physically, exercise, eat well, do all that stuff. Pretty much it.
Okay, Adam, what lies in the future for you? Is there any other planned climbs, or is it something you can't tell us?
Right now, I'm pretty much focusing on diving, trying to get my diving instructor certification, and then which pretty much means I can go to any country and get work as a diving instructor, which is pretty cool. That's the main reason why I've stayed here to do that. As for climbing, I really want to get stronger and get build my climbing endurance up for some free solo climbs I want to do, like buildings and stuff, which I really wanted to focus on this year, but I think diving's kind of taken over that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then any countries and whatever's in the country.
Have you never thought of going on the Warrior Challenge? Where they do all the obstacles and the climbing.
Oh, ninja, yeah.
That's it, Ninja Warrior Challenge.
Yeah, I really wanted to go on SAS Who Dares Wins, but I never finished my application.
Well, yeah, something like that, I think you'd really excel at, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Be good to
really
get on.
That.
So, Adam, is there any other interesting stories you could tell us that comes off the top of your head?
There's a building in Benidorm, which is the tallest building in Benidorm. I went to Benidorm last year, and I tried to get in the building, but they just pretty much the building's already built, but there was an accident with the workers, and then they stopped building it for like quite a few years. So when we went there, it was the tallest thing there. And that week that we got to Benidorm, they just started working on it again, which is really unlucky for us. And so we tried getting in once. There was too many workers, so we left. And then I stayed with the German guy that I was with, and all the rest of the boys went home. And we tried it, just me and him. We got into the site, and the security was, so basically the building's two towers that connect to the top, and it's pretty cool. It's called In Tempo. I can't remember how tall it is, but so yeah, we went in the site, and the security is in the middle of these two towers, obviously watching for people trying to get in. And he saw us both, and he chased both of them, chased after us, started throwing rocks at us. A rock this big came this close to my head. Which was quite stressful. And then the second time that I went to Benidorm, so the first time I went to Benidorm, I got very, very well known in Spain for what I was doing, like climbing and doing all the crazy stuff. And then when I went back, I was even more well known because obviously all the news articles and stuff like that, and all the local news and stuff like that. And so I went on my own, and I tried it on my own again, and I tried a different way. I went underneath in the building, and I was in the stairwell, and I was probably about 6 foot away from the security who was on the outside of the building, and I could hear him talking, and it stressed me out and made me so paranoid that much. I was in the building. I could have gone to the roof, but I didn't, and I left, and I took the L on that trip. And then when we went back, a few months ago, actually, they put a crane on the building, which really tickled me. And me and two others from London went in, got up just fine, got on the crane, hung off the crane naked, just because the first time that I tried it, they hated me being in there, and they really didn't want me being in there. So just to rub it in just a little bit more, I hung off the crane naked, just to say, you know what, fuck you, I've done it. And even when we did it, the whole time I was paranoid that that same security was going to be there just to, you know, throw rocks at me again. And then once we got out and everything was fine, it was pretty satisfying feeling to have finally done it after so long.
I suppose also as well abroad, you've got to be a bit more careful because like even the police, they carry guns and it's not so lenient, are they? Abroad, so
Spanish police are very aggressive people.
So Adam, is there any one activity that stands out in your mind where you're either really scared, couldn't sleep at night, your heart was still going after you've done it? Anything that comes to mind that's like that?
Back in I think it was 2018, when I did the tallest crane in Manchester, which still to this day was the tallest thing to ever be in Manchester. When I did it on my own for sunrise, and I had to escape the workers when they came in on a Monday morning, which is pretty stupid. But after I did it, I didn't know at the time, but the security company of that building and the crane and the construction company was owned by a pretty dangerous Manchester gangster. And he sent me a pretty threatening email after I did it, which didn't help when I did it again a few weeks later. When we went back in, the whole time we were thinking, oh, he's going to be there, he's going to be waiting for us, he knows we're going to be there. And as we were going upstairs, we had like planks of wood in our hands, just waiting for someone to come out and, you know, do something to us, but nothing ever happened. And then having to escape the security because they knew we were in there, running down the road, running for 10, 15 minutes just to get out of the area was pretty stressful.
So was you worried about any repercussions after doing it the second time?
When we did it the second time, I was so paranoid about him coming to my house and, you know, setting my house on fire, kicking the shit out of me, stuff like that. Like seeing me and like walking around Manchester, I was so paranoid for quite a few weeks, but we eventually sorted out and, you know, come to terms with it, and we're pretty calm now.
Okay, that pretty much ties it all up for us, Adam. Thanks for doing the interviews.
Yeah,
you know, it's been an eye-opening view for us and probably for all the viewers, really. So it's not something people do every day.